Hello everyone and welcome to Shelved episode 10. We did it. We made it to the double digits. I am so excited. This is an amazing episode. It's my favorite episode so far. Because for one, if Hollywood has proved anything, it's that our nostalgia makes so much money for whoever's cashing in on that. And this is one I am very excited for because once this movie, the first trailer dropped, I was always interested in the idea of them doing a new Power Rangers movie that isn't like super kid-like, because I saw that original Power Rangers movie in theaters, and at the time I loved it. But it's one you go back now, and it's really cheesy. It's definitely for kids. And this one looks to be balancing the line of like, yeah, kids can enjoy this, but adults can enjoy this too. And for some reason, I am super excited for this movie, and hopefully I will be seeing it the weekend that this comes out. I've already kind of made plans, but we'll see if they fall through or not. But yeah, this week we are discussing Power Rangers, and I sat down with my buddy Alberto, you know him as Scrump on Twitter, and we just dissected our childhood as we just ripped apart this Power Ranger script. Not ripped apart in a bad way. We really dove into this one. It's the longest episode yet, and I had a lot of fun discussing it. It was the one I was it was the one I was most looking forward to discussing, and I think it really came out. It exceeded my expectations for the episode. And for everybody listening, I just want to let everyone know that there is a special offer attached to this episode. For the first 5 people who review the show on iTunes, in an honest review, I'm not saying 5 stars, but hey, 5 stars would be great. For the first 5 people who review the show on iTunes, you can take a screenshot or a picture or some kind of proof, and if the first 5 people who email it to the show at shelvedfilmpodcast@gmail.com, you will win a free Bullet Club shirt from Pro Wrestling Tees. So if you're a wrestling fan, or if you just want a free fucking badass shirt, review the show on iTunes, send me the proof, send it to the email, send it to Twitter. I prefer the email because then I'm going to have to get your shipping information. Then you'll win a free Bullet Club shirt. And that's pretty fucking awesome because those are really expensive shirts, and a chance to get one for free is totally worth it. So yeah, be sure to review the show. The first 5 will get the free shirt. You have to send in the proof. That's the only requirement. It's pretty easy to do. You can review it on your phone. Just look for it in the store and slide over to reviews, and it'll allow you to write a review right there. I think everybody knows how to screenshot on their phone. If not, Google it. And then just send in that email, and to that email address again is shelvedfilmpodcast@gmail.com. So yeah, definitely look out for that. But yeah, so it's episode 10, and I'm really excited for this one. I really hope you guys like it. It's Power Rangers by Max Landis. Hopefully you guys read the script. If you haven't read the script before going into this episode, and you are even remotely interested in Power Rangers, I would highly recommend pausing this now, going and get the script. You can get it off our Tumblr, shelvedfilmpodcast.tumblr.com. And you should definitely read it. It's pretty easy to find in general. Like, I found this one on Google without trying like at all. So, yeah, it's really easy to find, but I highly recommend reading because it is super interesting. And we try to cover everything in the episode, but there's obviously going to be little details we missed that you'll pick up in the reading. But, all right, I hope you guys are ready for this, and I really hope you enjoy listening to me and Alberto discuss Power Rangers. The first 2 podcasts I did was this and Maggie. Or no, the first 3. I didn't take notes for the first one, and then Ziz came down and like slapped open a notebook, and I'm like, God, I feel like a fucking piece of shit. Like, he was doing more work on the podcast than I was. So after that, I started taking notes, and I'm usually reading it on my iPad, and I have my phone sitting in my hand, so I'm just fucking balancing back and forth.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I was like, I'll write down notes. I mean, I know most of their names, but I don't want to be like,
Yeah. And for me, it's like I try to do story beats because, like, when we do the podcast, I got to think there's probably people who are listening that didn't read it. So we might just be talking about events and they have no idea what's going on in the script. So I try to kind of move through the beats of the script a little bit. So a lot of my notes is just.
Do you have like the script pulled up?
No, I just have notes in my phone.
Yeah. Me too.
Sometimes I'll take screenshots of stuff that like dialogue shit that I really like, but I don't have any for this one. But the James Bond one I'm reading, I've screenshotted multiple dialogue things because it's so sexist that I have to read them on the show. But no, for this one, I just my notes.
Are we recording already?
Yeah, I hit record.
Oh,
somebody
cool.
Just knocked though?
No, it was CMT.
Oh,
good old cousin Mike.
See, I told you somebody was going to open that fucking door.
No.
Yeah, but I think it's pretty fucking perfect that you wore that shirt today.
Yeah, of course. It's a podcast. It's a audio medium, so none of you guys can see. But
I am gonna post a picture though.
Yeah, I wore my old Power Rangers T-shirt from like 2006, 2007. Probably.
It's a pretty sweet T-shirt though.
Yeah, you can tell it's old. It's more. The shirt itself is a nice charcoal gray, but this thing has been washed so many times.
It looks good though for as old as you say.
Yeah,
it is.
I mean, well, because I had like 3 in rotation. They were like on clearance at Target, and it was one of those things where everyone was like, "You like Power Rangers? Here you go." So I had this one. I had like a baby blue one and another charcoal one.
Right now, I'm that nerd where I'm like, should I print myself a Power Ranger shirt to go see that fucking movie?
Listen, we work at a T-shirt shop. I print everything. Like there's some people I will support and buy their stuff, but for the most part, I'm just like, the only T-shirts I've bought in the last 2 years that I've worked here have been plain T-shirts, no design on them or anything, because I have so many fucking graphic tees. I have multiple Punisher shirts that I've made for myself. See, I need to, for a while before I started working here, I worked at Kohl's. So I needed to wear a lot of adult clothes because they look down on like, you can't wear graphic T-shirts, things like that. So I was like, all right, cool, and I bought a bunch of graphic.
They don't really have like a dress code, right? Because the only retail I worked was Target. You had to wear a red shirt and khakis. It could be any red shirt and khakis, but for the most part, that's all you could wear. Kohl's, I just see people kind of not like dressy, but like dress casual. I guess.
Like they're just, just don't wear anything with logos. Don't come in wearing stupid wrestling T-shirts like I did constantly. Where they're just like, you can't wear that, and I'm just like,
I think that's
all
stupid.
right, send me home.
The best thing I had like that was I worked at Dick's Sporting Goods, and you just have to dress sporty. Like you can wear anything that they sell in the store. Like that was the thing. Like I think like you couldn't wear like a fucking skirt or something like that, but you could wear literally any article of clothing. You could wear fucking full hunting gear if you wanted, which everybody who worked in the gun section wore camouflage.
Come on, yeah, but, be more original.
Yeah, like I bought a pair of fucking $5 Reebok sweatpants that were on clearance my first week there, and then I wore a couple like dry fit workout shirts basically, and that was just my uniform for that place. And I just swapped between them.
Yeah, that's the thing with working here too, is that people like, I'm like, I don't really have a dress code. No. Yeah.
I've been wearing basketball shorts every day since I started working here.
Because of working here, I don't ever get to wear any of my normal people clothes because it gets, especially us working in the back of the store, with all the machines running, it gets so hot that I'm just like,
my first like week working here, I wore jeans, and that was a huge mistake.
Yeah, and it's always great, when you see someone start here and they wear jeans. Like Danny, one of the new guys that works here, he came in wearing jeans and like a button up, and it's his first day, so he didn't know better, but he comes in wearing the next day. He comes in wearing shorts and a regular T-shirt.
Like that changed real quick.
Because he knew better. It just gets really hot back here.
Yeah, I mean it's my first piece of advice to anybody that comes in this place. I'm like, just dress comfortably.
Oh yeah, for sure. Otherwise you're gonna be burning up.
Yeah. But all right,
so that's a 20-minute.
Yeah,
that's a 20-minute intro.
Well, this was telling me today that you need more banter at the beginning of your show. So there's a little more.
Yeah,
banter.
like a lot of people are gonna be like, "What the fuck? What are these two fucking idiots talking about?"
I mean, I feel bad because I'm usually keeping people late for work. In our case, we're here late anyway. We're just kind of taking.
I live here.
Break.
I literally, for those who know, I literally live here, at the store. So I don't care.
Yeah, and I mean you come in on the weekends now to clean the machine, so you're gonna make up this time lost.
Yeah. I just lose track of time. I don't ever know what day it is. You know, it's if I see that I get paid, I'm like, oh cool, it's a Wednesday.
Yeah.
You know, if everyone's leaving early, I'm like, oh cool, it's a Friday. Aside from that,
Yeah. The only reason I have to keep track of my days anymore is my bills.
oh yeah,
Or like, oh yeah, it's Wednesday. I actually get to buy food today.
yeah, right. Wednesdays. Oh, yesterday was Boneless Thursday at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh,
I didn't
God.
go. I was here till like midnight, and then I was like, I'm not driving over there.
I haven't been to Buffalo Wild Wings in a while. I live pretty close to one too. It's pretty bad.
See where I'm at now. I'm pretty close to one. I mean, and once I move, there's one around here that's close, but
Yeah.
it's not as close as the other one. But I'm willing to commit to making a little farther drive.
Yeah. For me it's like 10 minutes. But yeah, are you ready to talk about Power Rangers?
Let's talk about Power Rangers.
All right. So when I started this podcast, there was one script I knew I really wanted to do with you, and that was the Kevin Smith Superman script, because we're both huge Kevin Smith fans. So I'm like, oh, perfect. Like, it was kind of like when I thought of the podcast idea, I was like, oh, well, I have this idea for a podcast, but like, who could I do it with? And then when I started collecting scripts and I started thinking of people who would be perfect, I was like, oh yeah, you, Vinny, and like, it was great. And then the Power Rangers movie, I guess it was when they dropped the first teaser, which really wasn't much. It might even be just when the poster came out. I was kind of like, oh, I wonder if there's a script for a Power Rangers movie. And I searched for one and found one immediately.
Yeah.
And the writer on it was Max Landis, which is somebody that me and you have talked about quite a bit.
Yeah, at length. For those of you who aren't familiar with Max Landis, his father is John Landis?
John Landis.
Yeah,
of
he did.
American Werewolf in Paris.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and John Landis himself,
Wait, is it American Werewolf in London?
Yeah.
I said Paris. That's that shitty fucking remake sequel thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
American
yeah,
Werewolf in London.
his dad's that guy. He did those movies. I think he did Animal House too.
Yeah.
But yeah, his son, what he's famous for is he did a video called Superman Lives, in which
he's a famous screenwriter as well.
he wrote Chronicle,
which is a movie I really love.
Yeah, Chronicle's real good. His initial draft, I think, was like a little bit more out there than
which kind of seems to be a running theme with him.
Yeah,
and it was a draft based on the outline by who was the director? What the fuck was that dude's name? He did the Fantastic Four movie. Oh my god, it's on the tip of my tongue.
He did the
because he directed Chronicle, and then he went on to direct the Fantastic Four reboot, which
he was. I remember for a while they wanted him to do the Star Wars Rogue One, but there was all this thing going up.
Was it Rogue One that he was tied to?
Yeah, he was tied to Rogue One because he basically got that from doing Monster.
That was a different guy.
That wasn't him. No, Gareth Edwards was.
Yeah, Gareth Edwards. He did Rogue One.
Yeah.
Josh Trank.
Yeah. There you go. He's the one who did the.
Yeah, Chronicle was his first like real movie.
Yeah.
He did like some short film, and then Chronicle, and then Fantastic Four, and he has a new movie coming out. I was actually going to talk to you about this. Something called Fonzo. I don't know what it's about. I think it's like a movie about a person. But I remember seeing the announcement for it, like, oh, he's not in director jail because of Fantastic Four.
He was in movie jail, but yeah, he met Max Landis through.
They went to school together.
Yeah, they went to school together. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Max Landis, if you don't follow him on Twitter or have seen videos with him, the best way to describe him is the character of Lex Luthor in Batman v Superman is literally modeled after him.
The way he talks, the way he acts,
the way he looks, you know, it's almost all but confirmed. You know, he all but confirmed it through his Twitter. But that's essentially him. You know, he's a smart guy.
It was Jesse Eisenberg as Max Landis.
Yeah, you know, he's very educated, but a lot of the stuff he does, and you'll see some of it in the script, he does it just for the hell of it. You know, if you go on his YouTube, you know, he did a video, Superman Lives. Like I mentioned, he does, he just tells one of the Superman stories, and he also did one called Wrestling Isn't What Wrestling.
Yeah.
In which he tells the story of Triple H throughout the years.
Yeah, Max Landis, while mostly known for a screenwriter, and he has a fan base, and it's a very nerdy fan base as he's a fellow nerd. Mm-hmm. And he's written some movies that people like we like Chronicle.
Yeah.
He did American Ultra, which I haven't seen, but people like.
Yeah, I've heard good things from it. I know he's got that show Dirk Gently or something like that.
I don't even know about that.
I know it's a show. People have said real good positive things about it.
Yeah.
You know, but I've just the only thing I've ever been exposed of his Chronicle, and the Wrestling Isn't Wrestling.
Yeah, which me and you, we've had kind of a complicated history with Max Landis because we were both kind of fans of him, especially after Wrestling Isn't Wrestling, I think, because obviously our job and our personal interests were very much into the world of wrestling. And Wrestling Isn't Wrestling is fucking brilliant. I will never deny that. It's one of the best, funniest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, like you don't even have to be a fan of wrestling. He tells the story of wrestling through one character. It's
specifically for people who don't know wrestling, and people who do know wrestling just get more out of it.
Yeah.
But it's just like, here's why people like wrestling, here's what it's all about, and it's presented in a funny and nerdy kind of comical way. And so like we were following him on Twitter, and then it got to the point where I just had to unfollow him because he's very outspoken, which is fine. But he's very matter-of-fact in the way he's outspoken.
Yes.
And it's kind of like if you don't agree with him, you're kind of an idiot or somewhere along those lines. And so I was just kind of like, you know what? I'm out. I couldn't do it anymore. Like he's okay with some things and just a little too heavy on other things.
Yeah, some things he's very black or white about things. There's never much of a gray area. It's either, like I said, black or white, which does make
he'll
it a little
come hard at you if he's white and you're coming from a black perspective.
Yeah.
Not trying to make that sound racist.
Yeah, not a racial thing, you know. Again, you know, just that's the way he is.
Yeah.
You know?
So yeah, when I stumbled upon this Power Ranger script, I was like, I have to bring this to you.
Yeah.
Because just for the Max Landis aspect alone. And it sounds like some of this stuff is going to be in this movie coming out, but he's not listed as a writer on the movie.
Yeah, I mean, because I was following it in real time.
Yeah, you knew more. You already knew about it when I brought it up to you.
Yeah, because I believe it was right around the time that it came out that he'd written a version of the Fantastic Four that Josh Trank wanted to use.
Yeah.
But the studios got involved, all that. And he'd also pitched, this Power Ranger movie that's coming out now.
Yeah, so those were around the same time.
Yeah, he went so far as to getting someone to, draw up the Megazords for him.
Is there concept art out here for this?
Yeah, there's concept art somewhere in like Divine Art. You can find it. But I was following it basically in real time as it was happening. So I was more familiar with it. I just hadn't read it myself, But yeah, I mean, when you brought it to me and I read it, just reading the whole thing, there's a lot of stuff that you can kind of like, oh, I've seen this.
Yeah.
Kind of, I kind of get the gist of this like from the trailer, like
it's something I've always kind of picked out from watching his movies of what kind of guy is he. And when you read his writing, you kind of, that's fine. You kind of get the idea that Max Landis is a nerd who wants to beat up nerds.
Oh, yeah.
But like still wants to be accepted by them. Like just some of like there's even moments in the script, like the writing itself, where he describes Billy as like calling him a nerd wouldn't be far off or whatever. Like it'd be harsh, but it wouldn't be far off.
Yeah, I mean we can jump right into it the minute where the movie itself opens up with like a comet,
a little bit of backstory.
A little bit of just backstory, yeah. Comet crashing the Earth, the whole title sequence, and then we're introduced to Billy and Jason.
Yeah, who are kind of our main characters for the movie.
Yeah,
they're the Rangers that get the most screen time. Yeah. Like it's not like the TV show where they're all five hanging out and all friends at the same time.
The one thing from the bat that that distinguishes itself from the TV show is in the TV show they were all kind of just friends. There wasn't any two people you would. I
actually watched the first episode of the TV show like a couple of weeks ago.
Yikes!
Yeah, it's a little rough, but
it's a little.
I mean, there's things about it that hold up.
Yeah. Hey, listen. The one thing, and we'll get into it more. There was certain where they introduce certain characters, like when they introduce Goldar. We'll get into that, but when they introduce Goldar, the description for him is just straight up out of the TV show.
Yeah. There's only a couple designs that are from the TV show, though. Because it's like Goldar and Zed are basically exactly how they're described from the TV show. But everyone else is just crazy, weird alien thing.
Yeah, which I get it. There's some things where you want to ground it into a more realistic.
Or you want to change it and make it your own.
Yeah, which is, it's fine. But I've said it. And if you watch the preview for the movie, you see the giant gold.
Yeah. What
robot,
is Goldar?
What is supposed to be Goldar? And I don't care what anyone says. I think a different take on the original Goldar costume would have worked. Obviously change it up, make him look a little bit more menacing. Something different as opposed to like here's a giant gold dripping mess of like fuck
Which
off.
at this point this will come out the day the movie comes out, but at this point we haven't seen it, so we can only make speculation. I'm assuming there might be like, this is a crazy theory I'm going to throw out there, and I assume there might be a gold mine or something in the town, or maybe like I think she takes all that gold from somewhere and manipulates it into this creature, and that's where the Goldar is going to come from in this new movie.
I mean, possibly because like the whole gist of this movie is Rita Repulsa.
Yeah,
her evil plan is to like suck all the energy out of the Earth's core.
Well, she wants to collect the pieces of Zordon's ship. So we get the backstory of basically like Zordon had another group of Power Rangers long ago, and Rita was a former Power Ranger, and she had gone rogue and joined Lord Zed, who's trying to take over the universe. And they're basically like space cops, which is, that transitions into the TV show as well. Like the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, it wasn't defined as being like alien cops, but that's clearly Zordon came from somewhere. But in this, they kind of lay it out like, yo, we've been around space, we got stuck here, and we managed to trap her, but everyone kind of died in the process, and Zordon was the last one left. And so Rita wants to collect the pieces of the ship, and that'll help her escape. But in the process, that's going to destroy Earth because they have to suck out the energy to power the ship. Yeah,
which I think in the movie they probably, like you said, go with like the gold aspect of it, because all the crazy stuff that happens towards like the third act of this movie, I'm just like, like that's you're having like catastrophic earthquakes and just things like that, where I'm like, that's a little too much for like, here's chapter 1 of what they said they wanted to be like, 13 movies or something.
Yeah, there was that conference call. Well, I mean, this script, I don't know how far along this made it, but yeah, there was a conference call about the new movie where the guy says they could see making 6 or 7 of them, which we'll see.
Yeah, it's like, hey, like if
I think it's
the
gonna
Marvel
make a lot of
universe,
money.
If the Marvel universe and the DC universe to a lesser extent can pull off, 2 movies a year, or even Star Wars, once every other year, hypothetically they could do it, because there's so many iterations of the Power Rangers.
I wonder if they're going to go into that too, or if it's going to be like 6 or 7 Mighty Morphin. Like, will they go to in space?
So, yeah, I mean, maybe you could, because there's 3 seasons of the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers as opposed to like the 1 or 2 of every other one. It just seems as if you could pull more from that original series, cash in more nostalgia with that. They might even do 3. Who knows? Because
and I think the nostalgia is going to make this movie a lot of money.
Oh yeah,
like it was the most watched trailer on YouTube for a while. And there's advertising all over for this thing.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you have Jason David Frank, who played Tommy Oliver in the original series. That guy has such a strong following. Oh, yeah. And that guy is a hype machine.
There's a con specifically for Power Rangers, and they're all going to go see this movie.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, yeah.
But I mean, we're just trailing off into talking about the movie coming out.
So
I'm excited for it, but so we're introduced to Billy and Jason, and they're like on a beach cleaning up, kind of the typical Power Ranger stuff we see them do. And then we get the introductions to the classic Bulk and Skull, who have very little screen time in this.
Yeah, I thought they would be in there more for like comedic relief, and they're not that funny in this whatsoever.
They get introduced making fun of Billy, and then Jason kicks one in the face. Yeah, because that's what high school students do. Yeah, they're just, and it was that scene in particular where with the way Max Landis was writing it, where it's just like, oh, come on, dude. Like, you can really tell this guy hates nerds. But he's just like, oh yeah, Jason Roundhouse kicks people in the face, and we get the idea that this is something he's done quite a bit.
Yeah, they make sure to beat you over the head with Jason is a badass.
Yeah, but he's also a fuck up.
Yeah.
And that's something that this new movie, like, it's elements like that seem to carry over. Like, oh, let's not make the Rangers just preppy kids. Like, they all got problems. And we've seen that in the trailer where, they're all Abercrombie and Finch models, but they're all like, we're all losers, because that would ever be.
Yeah, it's like, listen, you can't be a sexy loser. Yeah. You can't.
Sorry, not in the high school I ever went to.
Yeah, no. I was the only sexy loser in my high school, but the rest of us, they all look like trolls. Yeah. But no, it's interesting. Like the one thing you said, they made sure to define everyone. The one thing they did that was different from the TV show is Kimberly was a badass. Like
not even a badass. She's the biggest loser of them all.
Like they just make her to be this like.
He really goes out of his way to stick it in the face of the norm.
Yeah.
Which is multiple things in the script.
When we're introduced to Kimberly, who in the TV show...
She's a dropout.
In the TV show, she's this girl next door.
She's the perfect student.
Yeah.
She's in gymnastics. She's the preppy girl. I mean, let's go hang out at the mall. Like, that was her character.
Yeah. And here they're like, yeah, she just got dumped by like her 30-year-old boyfriend who's in a shitty band.
And she's a high school dropout.
Yeah.
She's just been going around the country with this band.
Yeah, which is just like, okay, like we get it, Yeah. And I don't remember much of Trini from the show, but
Trini was just kind of there. Like Trini and Zach in the TV show, they never had major storylines. Like Zach had a kind of forced love interest that never really goes anywhere, and Trini was just always there for like support. Mm-hmm. And she actually plays more of a role in the script. Like, honestly, I would say in the script, Zach is kind of the one who is just kind of there.
Yeah, he's definitely just, I'm here for comedy.
Yeah, and he's there to be the Pink Ranger, which is another thing.
Yeah, which we'll get to that, as soon as everyone starts to get their coins. But yeah, I mean, it's just as soon as everyone's introduced, they let you know Billy and Jason are great friends. When Zach's introduced, they let you know.
Oh, they used to be friends, but then Zach became too cool for them.
Zach became too cool for Jason and Billy, and they stopped hanging out.
Yeah,
and
which in the show would kind of be the role Jason would fulfill. He's kind of he's the leader. He's kind of the popular one.
Mm-hmm. But they also let you know, which. They also let you know that Kimberly has the hots for Billy, which again it was just
and Jason and Trini are dating. Like he's just mixing everything up just for the sake of mixing it up.
Yeah, which is it's fine.
Yeah,
it's,
and I think this because in the show Kimberly was always with Tommy.
Yeah,
but in this, even in the new movie, it looks like it's going to be Kimberly and Jason.
Which also probably like 15 pages in. I don't know.
They name drop Tommy Oliver.
They name drop Tommy Oliver. Yep, It's one of those things where they're definitely.
Like, didn't she used to date Tommy Oliver?
Yeah, where they're definitely letting
hey guys, wink.
letting you know this guy exists in the in the universe. It's the equivalent of in a Marvel movie where they say Stephen Strange.
Something's happening in Wakanda.
Yeah,
was
Wakanda.
That line in Age of Ultron?
Yeah, or like in Civil or in Captain America too. Where they're just like Stephen Strange.
Yeah, when they're on the computer, they have the names of people.
Yeah. So it's just
literally
one of those,
the same thing.
Letting you know, hey, this guy exists. He's in our universe.
Yeah, and the script is dated 2014, so it's well into the world of, hey, we're going to establish a universe with this movie because that's just what you do now.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, early on, this script definitely Max Landis, because you got to think the general audience currently for Power Rangers is kids. Yeah. And adults our age, like mid to late 20s, that grew up watching it. Mm-hmm. And he really draws the line on let's be a little cheesy and kid friendly, but at the same time they're going to call people dicks.
Of course, yeah. Like you see, like my nephew, my 5-year-old nephew, Yokelis. I talk about him a lot. I'll probably mention him.
Yokelis is so great.
Yeah, on so many more of these podcasts. But
just think shit my dad says with like a 4-year-old.
Oh God, yeah, this kid. Oh my God. I'm not even going to get into that because we'll go into a whole 40-minute podcast about him. But he's great. I love him. But, he's a fan of the Power Rangers. But the classic
Does he watch
TV
the
show,
current Power Rangers?
I don't know.
Because it's all on Netflix.
Yeah, like he'll watch Power Rangers.
Yeah.
To him, it's one of those things where it doesn't really matter which one. Like, he's all about, he just wants to see, someone get their face punched, like he just wants to see the bad guys.
And I mean, that was kind of the cool thing of the show is we would come home from kids and watch this fucking martial arts show.
Yeah,
and that's basically what it was for me.
Yeah, because I know I've tried to get him to watch more, superhero movies, and it's one of those things where he's like, everyone's just talking, like he just wants to see them fight and stuff.
Which Power Rangers 22-minute episodes, half of it's usually fighting.
Yeah, it's exposition. Here's one fight where everyone's gonna lose, and then here's fight 2 where everyone's gonna win. That's about it. But yeah, so I felt like this was definitely more geared towards teenagers, or like I said, people our age, because
I mean they definitely want something that older people can go and enjoy.
Yeah, I mean if this movie, it's gonna make a bunch of money. It might not make all the money, but
no, it'll easily cover its budget, which is just like $100 million.
Yeah, but the way they're smart about it, they're again appealing to the younger generation. Which, if you're gonna try to make all the money, then you got to bring everyone.
Yeah. And this script definitely plays with that angle. So we go from the beach to Jason getting yelled at by his police dad about him being a screw up,
which is straight up in the trailer.
Yeah. And yeah, it's like, I am wondering, I mean, because I remember when they put out the casting call for the actual movie that they described Jason as like he got into a car accident, which they show in the trailer. He's like, you're going to keep this here to remind me of my screw ups or whatever. And it's like a messed up truck or whatever. So they're definitely keeping the angle. And I wonder how much of that came from this script.
Yeah, because I mean, in the script, they definitely let it know Jason is a fuck up. He gets into a lot of fights.
Yeah,
his dad confronts him. Why were you fighting? And I felt like everyone was too hard on him about that. Like he was sticking up for Billy.
Yeah,
Billy was his nerdy friend. Who even Billy was like, why did you stick up for me? But it's one of those things where, I would kind of see him as like an older brother figure to him, where he's gonna watch out for him. That's his friend.
And that's basically Billy's whole story arc for this script is he's the nerd who can never stand up for himself, and we're going to watch him learn to stand up for himself.
Yeah.
And like they really hammer it in. Like, I get it. You always needed me to protect you and blah, blah, blah. Until eventually Billy's like, no, I'm going to do it this time.
Yeah, which, the way they do it too, it works. It
totally
works. It doesn't
works.
feel forced. They don't beat you over the head with it. It just kind of all happens organically. But yeah, I mean, they let it know Jason's a fuck up. Everyone's, oh my God, you got into another fight. You got into a fight again. And, literally right before we meet Zordon for the first time, it's Trini, who's his girlfriend, his on and off again girlfriend. Like they, they
had recently just broken up for like the umpteenth time. And she's kind of defining it as, well, this is the last time.
Yeah.
And this is also when we get introduced to Kim, who like immediately starts flirting with Billy, and it's just like, all right, so I see you're just mixing up all the character relationships.
Yeah, so we skipped a part there. There's which I was like, fuck off. Night at the museum exhibit. There's some sort of excavation.
Yeah, they go to the museum, and that's where we see Goldar's armor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we see Goldar's armor.
The staff.
Rita's staff. A head. It's like a putty head, I think, that's like fossilized or something like a stone
like that. Head.
Yeah, but see, that was one of those things where I'm like, I've never heard of. The cool thing in town is for all the high school kids to go to a museum at night.
No, they actually get Jason there by saying there's free drinks, so they lure him there with free champagne. Which, a bunch of kids going crazy for champagne. But yeah, I mean, that's their thin explanation of getting them there.
Yeah. And when they're there, they pointed out, here's some gold armor, which from the get-go I was like, oh, okay, cool, that's Goldar, and the scepter. And shortly after that is when we're introduced to Zordon. He crashes into like a vine field.
Yeah, he like comes from space. Like, I guess there's something orbiting the Earth, and he's kind of picking up on, hey, some bad shit's going on, because there's this thing that came from space. Did you need a cough? Okay, there's this thing that came from space in the beginning of the script, which we basically is to understand like this is what Rita is coming from, because they're a little vague on it. And then so Zordon just he crashes into a field, which happens to be by Trini's. But I'm actually thinking,
you see, the thing with Trini too is you got to understand, she's a fucking nerd. Like, she is so uptight. And
the script will not let you forget that she's a really uptight nerd who's not gonna. She's never stepped out of line in her entire life.
Which was again weird, because in the original TV show, it was pretty much, I'm the Yellow Ranger, and that's about it. Yeah. The most interesting thing that happened with the Yellow Ranger in the original series is when
they recast her.
Because the actress who played her passed away.
No, I think she passed away long after that.
Oh well,
they were just. I think it was a money dispute that they were cycling out three of the characters, and they brought in the new red, black, and yellow Ranger.
Her name's Aisha. She's a real nice lady. I met her.
Yeah, we met her.
Yeah, we met her at C2E2. But yeah, I mean that's the most interesting story arc with that character. Yeah. So to see her get much more of a bigger role in this was definitely interesting, because again, in the original run, it was just like, oh yeah,
in the yellow one,
there is a Yellow Ranger.
Yeah.
But
I also forgot we do meet Zach at the museum as well.
yeah, that's where they tease the whole. I mean, Jason's kind of.
He's like, oh, there's Zach.
And he's like, yeah, there's Zach. And Zach, trying to be a nice guy, he comes over, tries to talk with Billy and Jason.
Yeah, and everyone just kind of brushes
him off. Yeah, and the thing you learn about Zach is
because he's on the football team.
Yeah, they see him as a cool kid, but on the actual football team,
they all hate him.
Yeah, they all hate him. They're always, he tends to choke up during games.
Yeah,
and they all just give him shit for that.
Yeah.
So it was kind of interesting to see that. It wasn't just here's the jock. To me, if you've seen Chronicle, I kind of pictured him playing like the Michael B. Jordan role, where was just this cool football player, but was also real tight with like the nerds.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how that struck me. But yeah, we're basically introduced to them, and it's kind of known.
Yeah, the museum is kind of like, here's all your Rangers.
Yeah, that's also where you see for the first time that Kimberly's interested in Billy.
Yeah.
She's described
and
as
she just basically straight up says it.
Yeah.
And it's all this like, yo, dude, she's clearly into you. Mm-hmm. But since Billy's the nerd, he's just like, nah, man, Kim would never be into me.
Yeah, he doesn't see it, and that kind of, and you see that reflected on Kimberly, where she's kind of taken aback.
Yeah, like, what? I'm basically throwing myself at you.
Yeah, she's all but throwing herself at this guy, and he's kind of just like, oh, yeah.
And this is what leads us to Trini's house, because Jason and Billy, they go to Trini's house, and Trini's like, dude, come on, she likes you. And this is also where we get introduced that Jason and Trini, they're like, on a break or whatever, they're broken up because he just can't fucking stay focused. Billy lets it drop that he got into a fight, and then she gets mad about that, and then that's when Zordon crashes into her field,
which was different. Again, this Zordon and Alpha,
it's fucking weird.
Yeah, they're way different from the original ones. In the original run, as far
Zordon's
as
a guy in a tube.
He's just a guy in a tube.
Yeah, except in the movie where they show the tube broken, and he's this weird fucking cocoon guy, which I never understood.
But, they describe him as E.T. mixed with some sort of distant undersea squid.
Yeah, a lot of tentacles in this movie, because Rita is kind of described in a similar way.
Yeah, but it's that was just weird. Like,
I didn't understand the like direction. Like, and I guess that's one of my biggest problems with the script is, aside from the characters he doesn't really mess with that much, a lot of the design of the characters doesn't seem practical. It just seems weird.
Yeah, because if Zordon, you see Zordon's from Eltar, and the people from Eltar, so Rita would hypothetically also be from there because she was also,
we would be safe to assume that his team of Rangers would all be the same species.
Yeah, they would all be the same species, human, not necessarily human, but humanoid.
Yeah.
And if both Zordon and Rita are from Eltar, and one is a squid creature and the other one isn't, there's something fucking weird.
Yeah, now what are those Ranger like? Do the Ranger coins just form a suit around your body, or are they all humanoid type suits? I mean, I guess I would assume it would just conform to whatever you are.
Once Zordon starts communicating with them, he lets it be known.
Which he can't communicate at first. It's basically like an alien, like it's like screaming at you. But then he can kind of mingle with electronics and then talk through the electronics.
Yeah, which he does. He does that. And he lets them know, oh, this is how I'm interfacing with everything and communicating with you all.
And Alpha 5 is basically just like a floating disc that he later connects to a robot body.
Yeah, which also at the same time, like Alpha's design in the original like series was okay. It was, to me, you didn't need to change it into this like weird. I mean, if you look at the toys now, you see what they did with it, and that's basically
in the new trailers and stuff, you get a good look at what the new Alpha 5 is.
And for the most part,
I think you're a little more critical. I'm okay with it. Like, I think we've kind of disagreed a little bit. Like, I'm just like whatever.
Yeah. I mean, they describe it in here too, and it's basically that they, that's probably one of the things that they kept the same because it's described, and it looks the same.
Well, the thing is, I don't know if you caught it. They made him big. Like, he's not waist-sized robot. We're skipping way ahead, but for a long time, Alpha 5's kind of like a floating saucer with like some kind of legs or tentacles or whatever. And then they fight like a giant security robot that Billy knocks its head off, and Alpha 5 just takes that body. So he's like, I'm trying to think of another big robot from a movie, but he's just like a huge hulking robot, but it's Alpha 5.
Yeah, which that's also a little weird, but kind of getting back on topic, Zordon explains, he's from Eltar. Him and his team of Rangers were coming here to Earth, and one of them was Rita. She stabs him in the back.
Joins up with Zed.
Joins up with Zed. and their ship crashes, and what they use for the command center
is the command center of the ship.
Yeah,
it's just like a piece of the ship.
Yeah,
which it seems to be the command center. Some of the stuff, the way he described it, got a little confusing to understand the location of things. But it seems like there's like a dig site around the town, Angel Grove, and that's where the command center is in this dig site. And he's able to like cloak it, so even though people are looking at it, they can't see it type situation. And then the rest of his ship is just scattered around the world.
Yeah, which he tells them about that, and then he lets them know he needs the scepter. He tells them Rita's already looking for the scepter. She's already here. She's already looking for it.
Yeah, and there's something happening in the ocean. There's like a thing drawing power from the earth in the ocean.
Yeah.
Which we never really get an explanation of.
No, like Kimberly.
Oh, that's the thing, because right from the beginning, communications are out all around the world. And that's the thing that's blocking the communications. Yes. That's what it is. Yes. So whatever it's doing is blocking communications.
Yeah. And I thought it was just Angel Grove they would be doing it, but apparently it's worldwide.
It's the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So eventually, it's basically Zordon and Alpha 5 show up on Trini's farm, and then the three of them take Zordon and Alpha to the command center. Is that where they go next? Is that when he gives them the coins?
Yeah. He gives Jason a coin.
Yeah.
He gives Jason a coin and tells him, go get me the scepter.
Him and Trini have to go get the scepter.
And he lets it be known, do not use the power coin
unless you need to, because she can detect it and she'll know that he's alive.
Yeah, which of course, if you've met Jason, of course he's gonna fucking use it.
Yeah, and then he gives Billy a coin, so Jason and Trini go to the museum to get the scepter, and then Billy is taking Zordon and Alpha 5. Oh, Billy and Zach.
Yeah,
because somehow Zach, he basically needed
Zach, not Zach yet.
Am I jumping ahead?
It's
yeah,
you're right. Well, because this is so. At one point, they're at the school. They go back to school, and that's when the cops show up, and they say, hey, all the power's out, everything's out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I skipped a huge fucking chunk.
Yeah.
They trap Zordon in the trunk of the car.
Oh, yeah.
They knock him out in Alpha 5, and they just stuff him into the trunk of the car, and they go to school, and they're just trying to have a normal day, and they're like talking to her like, what the fuck are we going to do? They've got this alien in our trunk. And yes, that's when the communications
that's when Zach overhears them, and he's like, you have what in the trunk?
Well, he gets left by the other football players, and he needs a ride. Mm-hmm. So they all go to Trini's house to and they let Zach in on what's going on, and like, well, we got to let this alien out and figure out what's going on. Mm-hmm. And then that's when they go to the museum, and then...
Yeah, so Zach and Billy, they take Alpha and Zordon to the command center, and Jason and Trini go to break into the museum to get Rita's scepter. The only thing is that once they go over there, the putties are already there.
It's a putty, a single putty.
Yeah, a putty. They've already they get there and the museum's already been broken into.
Yeah, and it's all trashed.
Yeah, and Jason's the only one to go in there.
Trini waits outside.
Yeah, she waits outside. And this is right when we get introduced to Goldar.
Yeah, the putty. He basically describes as putting this blue furry ball into the armor, and it just spreads into the armor, and Goldar comes to life.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure most people might not be familiar with Goldar by name, but he's the giant blue monkey lion thing in the golden armor from the original show.
Yeah, he's got that weird voice like, hey, Power Rangers, like from the original series. There's one thing I like. So Jason starts fighting the putty because he gets the putty takes the scepter, and he's kind of getting the upper hand on the putty, but he has to morph.
Yeah,
and so
that's the thing. He doesn't morph until he sees that his dad is in peril. His dad is a police officer.
Yeah, and he can't let his dad see him. So he's like, well, I guess I got to morph.
Yeah, because it's like the museum's alarm, that's one of the things where I was like, well, no electronics are working, but like the museum.
Well, they just said communications. They didn't specify electronics. I will say there don't seem to be any morphers in this. He just gives them coins, and it sounds like they just kind of like punch the coin. Yeah, is how it's described.
Yeah, it wasn't really. They're just say they get the coin and then morph.
Yeah,
they don't really. At one point, they say Billy punches a coin. But aside from that,
there's no real description on how the morphing occurs.
Yeah.
And there's also no description of the suit. They refer to it as armor. So you can kind of picture probably what this new movie is, where it looks like metallic armor. Mm-hmm. It's multiple times in the script it's referred to as armor, not a suit. But that's kind of our only description of what the suits are like.
Yeah, aside from that, it's pretty much...
And then the color.
Yeah, just left to your imagination.
Yeah.
But
which, I mean, that's generally how a script would be, and that's up to the director and designers and all that shit.
But... Yeah, I mean, Goldar essentially winds up beating the shit out of Jason. You know?
Like
And-
they describe, so the coins kind of, this is something that's different from the series. It alters them all differently. So Jason, he's a fighter, so his fighting skills are enhanced. Trini, she's like a track star, so she's super fast. And Zach is kind of just enhanced physically because of his athletics.
Yeah, he's just real.
Billy's suit is probably the most interesting because it gives him like devices and stuff. Because Billy, he
can also camouflage.
Yeah. So that was actually kind of an interesting
and then,
thing.
I think Kimberly, she gets like
spikes.
She gets brass knuckles. Or something.
She becomes like a brawler basically because they say that she hits the hardest or whatever.
Yeah,
which I like that aspect of it.
Which it was cool because again, in the original series,
they're all just kind of the same.
Yeah, and especially with her, she was more so of like the damsel in distress.
Yeah.
Almost every week.
Yeah.
You know, she for the most part was a way to get to Tommy. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and this one they made, you know, again, all the costumes do different things. It seems like hers, you know, as far as actually fighting, would probably be the best because of those brass knuckles.
And like as much as he changes things for the sake of changing them, and some of them seem like, come on, man. This one actually is a good addition to the series. Like having them all be unique in some way is a cool idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this leads to Jason battling Goldar, and he's able to fight back the putty, and then Goldar is just kind of like laughing at him. Yeah. And then Goldar is under the impression that Jason is a Power Ranger coming from space, but then he realizes that he has Zordon's old coin, so he knows that Zordon is alive.
Yeah,
and that kind of
the one
tips him off.
thing I kind of found interesting too was the cops, and it was just the cops. They couldn't understand Goldar. Because he
speaks in some alien language, but the suit automatically translates. That was another cool idea.
Which I was like, because it doesn't really make sense for
them to speak English.
40,000-year-old aliens to understand English.
Yeah. So that was another thing he changed that I like.
But yeah, I mean the one good thing too was Jason lost that fight.
Yeah.
You know, he loses that first fight.
Which a lot of this script is them losing for a long time.
Yeah.
So while this is happening, Billy and Zordon, they get into the command center, and there's like a security robot that's come to life, and it's old, so it's kind of gone haywire, and it's attacking them. And Billy has to morph to defeat that. Mm-hmm. And then that's where Alpha 5 ends up taking his body. Yeah. So already they weren't supposed to morph, and both of them have already morphed.
Yeah. And even then, even though he's morphed, he puts up somewhat of a fight. Yeah, it's not good enough.
No, they're all fumbling at the moment.
Yeah, the way the fight ends essentially is Trini
sneaks up on it.
Well, Trini runs him over with a car.
Oh, you're talking about Goldar. Sorry,
with Goldar. Yeah, the fight with Goldar. Trini just straight up runs him over. It was very reminiscent of in Logan, where spoilers if you haven't seen it, but I'm sure most people who listen to this have. Yeah. So again, just fast forward 10, 15 seconds. But when X-24 is just beating the shit out of Logan.
Yeah, and she hits him with the car.
Yeah, and he gets hit by a truck. You know, that just kind of reminded me of that, where it's kind of a cheap way of like, you know, you didn't win the fight, but you know, here's your way out. You know, and then you know, they all wind up meeting up. Zordon scolds them, you know, for using the coin.
And this is when the Dominators arrive, which is... So there was... I totally had forgotten about some of these characters. So in the original show, there was Goldar, Squat, and Babu, who all hung out at Rita's castle. Yeah. And I remembered those three.
There's also Finster.
He was the one who created the monsters, right?
Yeah, Finster was like the little old...
Which Finster's not in this, right? Or is there a name?
He's in...
Is there a name drop?
We'll get to Finster.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. But, yeah, so Babu, like...
Squat and Babu are just kind of there.
Yeah. Babu is like the tall, like, bird monkey-looking guy.
Yeah, and Squat looks like a small, fat pig.
Yeah, he's a little goblin, you know? Yeah. Shout out to Marty and Sarah, you know, goblin. But, yeah, they're the two bumbling idiots who Goldar's always just yelling and hitting, you know? And they also introduced you to Scorpina, who...
I just fucking completely forgotten about from the series.
Literally, as Jeremy was reading the script, he finished it before me. He came up to me and mentioned Scorpina, and I was like, what are you talking about? Like, his name's Scorpion, and he's in Mortal Kombat, you idiot. And then we Googled it. We're like, oh, no, yeah, there was a chick who essentially just... A woman wearing...
It's like version of Goldar's. King?
Yeah, she's wearing a version of Goldar's armor, but
it's just all Scorpion themed.
Yeah,
and I think she had like a a stabber pincer thing on her arm.
Some sort of weird thing. But
in this, she's like a fucking just full on scorpion creature.
Yeah, they say she doesn't talk. She just
hisses and yeah. Everyone in this is very animalistic as far as the monsters go.
Yeah. And then I think it's shortly after that, it's still Zordon talking to everyone.
Now we were talking about the Zords.
Yeah, he brings up the Zords, which I thought was a pretty cool way of like, this is why they look like animals. He lets them know that they're custom made and they're just modeled after animals from
wherever they happen
to be. Yeah, and it kind of
like whatever planet.
Yeah, which around the time I guess they came here, the only animals they really knew of were fucking dinosaurs and mastodons and saber-toothed tigers, which, okay, cool, that's cool, because otherwise it's one of those things that doesn't really make sense, why these like alien robots look like
dinosaurs. But they give us a reason. It's like in the Transformers movies, they come here and they scan the cars. They came here and they scan dinosaurs.
Also, one thing they let you know is they don't have the Zords just like on retainer. They're scattered around the world.
They're all hidden and they only know where the red one is. So they're like, you have to go to the red one, the Tyrannosaurus, and you have to get it and recall all the other Zords because it has like a recall function. And so this is where they give Zach his power coin.
Which I remember this happening again in real time.
Yeah.
And I pulled up the exact quote that Max Landis had as to why he did that, because Zach gets his coin and they don't tell you that.
I mean, the script tells you.
Yeah.
Because he's like, whenever they hand somebody, they get like an electrical shock of the color that represents their coin. Mm-hmm. So right away we notice he gets pink electricity. And then when he finally morphs, he's like, dude, why'd you give me the pink one? He's like, well, they don't know what color they are.
Yeah, which I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's like, oh, come on, dude.
Max Landis' verbatim, word-for-word explanation as to why, because I remember he posted it up like on Twitter. He was like, this is my favorite part of the script. And people were like, why is Zach the Pink Ranger? To which he says, and I quote, to fuck with the audience. Plus, it fits into the plot. Which it doesn't.
No,
I concocted very nicely. Implied Zach will be Black Ranger in next movie. Which, not really. Like,
they do mention they would switch coins.
Oh, yeah. He makes like an offhand comment to Kimberly where he's like,
oh, you want to switch?
Yeah, and she's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, again, that's just one of those Max Landis things where
it's just doing it for the sake of doing it. Yeah. Like, hey, this will get people's attention. Yeah. This is different. This is weird. And why can't the guy be the Pink Ranger? Like, fuck off.
Yeah, which is like, hey, whatever. If you want to, like, you can make him the Pink Ranger if you want. I don't care. I'm like, I don't care if you want to do it. It's just the way, it's not like when they were like, yeah, the Human Torch, it's going to be a black guy now. That's
whatever. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. He's on fire.
It's like the idea is if you wanted to make Peter Parker Spider-Man, it's like, what is the defining characteristics of Spider-Man? He's a poor kid from Queens. That doesn't necessarily scream white dude.
Yeah, it could be fucking, Steven Galansberg, who's Spider-Man. It could be anyone. But
it was literally just different for the sake of being different, trying to push the envelope and just shoving it in people's faces. Like he said, to fuck with the fans. Mm-hmm. And for a good movie, that does not make.
Yeah. And, that's it is what it is. But the one interesting thing that does come from that is that Zordon reveals that Rita was, in fact, a former Ranger.
Yeah.
And you can that's what most people are just assuming from the upcoming movie.
It seems to be that she's the Green Ranger. And my theory for that is they're going to defeat Rita at the end of the movie, and they're going to get her coin, and that's going to play into the next movie, because we have no idea if Rita's going to make it to the end of the movie or how that's going to play out.
Yeah.
And this script handles that idea a different way, which we'll get there.
Yeah, they let you know Rita was a former Ranger, and she betrayed the team. They were assigned to our galaxy to find the Dominators, but Rita eventually gives in to Zed, Lord Zed, and he promises her the world.
Yeah, and which he's name dropped throughout the script.
Mm-hmm. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, and she just reveals that she was the Black Ranger later on.
Yeah, later on she reveals she was the Black Ranger, which again it's kind of so in the trailers for this upcoming movie. It seems that Rita specifically going after Trini.
Is that Trini?
Yeah, she's Trini, the Yellow Ranger. So at first I thought, maybe she used to be the Yellow Ranger, but then clearly,
her outfit looks like a tattered Ranger outfit, and it's green.
Yeah. So, you know,
And
I
she has
don't know.
a gold fucking staff,
Yeah.
you know?
And then the one also thing that's very, very different from this movie and the new one is that in the new movie they have Elizabeth Banks, who is
fantastic.
She's an amazing...
Like, when they announced that casting...
Well, not only that, but physically, you know, she's a very attractive woman.
Yes.
You know, 10 out of 10 for me. But in this movie... Rita's described as the queen alien from Aliens with Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah.
You know, and again, it was just like,
what
was wrong with her original design? You know? That's again.
She was so great. There's an episode. So there's the guy who does those reviews, which there's this website called Atop the Fourth Wall, and this guy did a video series called History of Power Rangers, and he goes through and reviews each season. He talks about an episode where I can't even remember what the setup was, but for some reason Kimberly has to act like Rita Repulsa, and he just plays the clip, and she does such an amazing fucking job at pretending to be Rita with the yelling and shit. Like, it's crazy how good she is.
What's funny is I guess I always just have a soft spot for Rita because, and I've mentioned it to Jeremy before, growing up, my aunt, I love her, but she's the goddamn devil. And to the point where when she would describe herself as Cruella de Vil and Rita Repulsa from Power Rangers, you know? So it's one of those things where I've kind of just always had a soft spot for Rita because whenever, you know, I see her just, Rangers, yelling at her, I'm like, oh yeah, that just sounds like when she would yell at me, you know, like me and my dumbass cousins.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, even in the original one, at one point you see that she is human, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think it's at the end of the third season, or no, yeah, for the third iteration when they're in space.
Yeah.
Which this has nothing to do with the
because
movies.
it starts off with like a meeting of the fucking villains or whatever.
Because the thing about the original series, and if this gets to be too much about the original series, I apologize.
I mean, it's Power Rangers. It's hard to avoid it.
I apologize, but I'm going to fucking talk about it.
It was such a good series.
Yeah. So by the time they get to Lost in Space, it's kind of just concluding.
It's just in space.
It's coming full
totally
circle. You know, it's wrapping up, you know, Mighty Morphin,
Turbo
and Zeo, you know. And the one thing is Zordon's been captured, and you know, ultimately the way to, you know, beat everyone is Zordon sacrifices himself. And when that happens, they show
I forgot about that.
Yeah, this like giant
it's like a wave of good energy.
A wave of good energy, and you see all like the villains from all the other series, and they kind of just
they get hit by this energy and become good.
Yeah,
basically.
think of the best way to describe it is if you've ever seen the movie Little Nicky. There's the one scene where Little Nicky, where he finds out that he's part angel.
Yeah.
So he goes around telling people to release the good.
Yeah.
And hits them with like a positive beam of energy and like turns them, you know, into this big ball of positivity.
Yeah.
So that's the best way to describe it. When that happens, you see Rita and Lord Zed, who are just, you know, like these old curmudgeons, get turned into this like attractive couple.
Yeah,
God,
I totally forgot about that.
You know,
I need to go back and rewatch that.
Yeah, so there were just humans this whole time.
Yeah.
Because, again, in that movie, people from Eltar look like humans.
Yeah, because wasn't the Red Ranger from Eltar in that? In space?
I want to say, yeah, he might have been, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, and we're getting off topic.
Yeah, so they got to go get the Zord.
They have to go get the Zords.
So Jason and Zach are shipped off to Asia to go get the Zord, and this is when Rita finally comes into the script, because at this point we're like 50 pages in and haven't even seen Rita.
Yeah.
And she ends up showing up with the Dominators.
This is full like Dark Knight Rises where you don't even see Batman till like an hour into this.
like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally the same thing. Like we see Goldar, we see a Putty, you know, we've seen things. But
and they reference her too. There's like certain,
a lot of references.
You hear, you know, they have you hear her voice. They
she's
imply that
off-screen.
she's there.
Yeah, and so it becomes, again, the team is separated. This time, Zach and Jason are fighting smugglers while trying to get the Zord, and Trini and Billy have to go to Trini's house because for some reason the Dominators are making their way that way. I think that's because where Zordon crashed. So they're going to go investigate the energy from there. And obviously that's Trini's house where her parents are. So she has to go save her parents. And this is where she's given her yellow coin. Mm-hmm. So now we got Billy and Trini going to fight the Dominator. Or I think she goes on her own. And Billy's still at the command center. And then he ends up showing up later. Mm-hmm. And then, so Jason, he gets the Zord. And Zach, that's when he finds out he has the pink coin. Because he beats up some smugglers. Like, dude, why'd you give me a pink one? And then while they're doing fucking with the Zord, it kind of takes a while. We're in Trini's house just fighting. Yeah. So she fights Scorpina and Squat and Babu, I think. And while Billy's fighting like an army of putties, basically.
Yeah, it's one of those things where they show up to Trini's house because that's basically where Zordon landed. So as far as they're concerned, they're just following his scent or his energy trail. Yeah, because it's one of those things. One of the things too is everything is essentially powered by their psionic energy, which is their fancy way of saying your life force.
Yeah.
So they can sense him. They know, especially when the coins are activated. Like that's one of the things too where he says don't transport into the command center.
Because then they'll know where it is.
Yeah, because then they'll know where it is. And of course, everyone's getting their ass kicked. Yeah. Everyone's in trouble.
Billy's fighting putties. Trini's, she ends up getting fucked up by Rita, which is the first time we see her. Yeah. Like she's taking on Scorpina because they're fighting in her house. She knows the layout of her house. And as I said before, her coin gives her super speed. So she's kind of like zooming around the house and getting the one up on her until Rita shows up. Yeah. And is this where she gets her staff? Or no, that's when they go to the command center.
Yeah. So at this point, they're all getting their asses kicked, and Zordon does the only thing he can do.
Is teleport them out of there.
He teleports them out of there, and that's when he's like, oh, fuck.
Now they know exactly where the command center is.
Yeah, he's like, they're coming, and sure enough, I don't even think Kimberly, is she introduced yet at this point?
No, Kimberly, so Kimberly, the Dominators were just attacking in the city before they went to Trini's, and Kimberly snuck onto their ship. They have this like hovercraft thing, and she just snuck on with like a police baton or whatever, and while they're fighting in Trini's house, Kimberly pops up and like beats the shit out of Babu or somebody.
Yeah, she takes a cop's belt and leaves the gun there.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, all right,
it's a little weird.
Yeah, it's a kid's movie, so you kind of have to leave it there. But a lot of this would have just been solved if she just took that gun.
Yeah.
And put a bullet to Rita.
And it's like, why was she even doing this? Like, did she really feel like she needed to stow away on this thing? She's a kid.
Yeah, that was the one thing, too, where Kimberly went from, like, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to travel the world doing whatever I want.
To all of a sudden, she's going to save the world.
All of a sudden, she's like, this is my world.
I think she literally has a line where it's like, nobody messes up this town but me or something like that. Like, only she can be a punk around
There's
here.
one line, where Rita tries to, like, hey, come over to the dark side. That'll make you a queen. And she's just like, I am a queen of this planet. And it's like, fuck off. You were literally, no one even knew you were in town because you're off chasing 30-year-old men.
The way her and Zach are crammed into this script just feels really forced. Like, he spends a lot of character time with Jason and Billy and Trini. Yeah. And Zach and Kimberly are just kind of there.
Yeah. Again, a lot of Zach's lines are just, I'm here for exposition.
Yeah. And like, my buddies don't like me anymore, but I found new friends with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, just they're very lacking on character development.
Yeah, which, I mean, you can't...
It's hard. You got 5 characters.
Yeah, you got 5 characters.
They're split up for 90% of this script.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
And then you also have to tell the story of Zordon.
Yeah.
And Rita.
Yeah.
And the impending Zed.
There's just a lot going on, and splitting them up means you have to spend too much time throwing the story all over the place.
Yeah, because there are various points where everyone is just split up.
They're never all together until the last battle.
Yeah. But even then, the one thing I did like is that they didn't just keep the same people together. They kind of switched up the dynamic.
Yeah, the teams are mixed up quite a bit.
Yeah.
So everybody gets brought to the command center except for Jason and Zach, who are fucking with the Zord, which it kind of like connects to you the way like I envision Pacific Rim is kind of the same thing.
Like
and
that.
It drains you. So like him using the Zord, they're like, humans are never meant to have the power that it takes to power one of these things. So them being able to do it at all is impressive. Mm-hmm. But since they all got transported to the command center, and this is where Kimberly's given her coin, which is the black coin. the Dominators and Rita just show up, and they basically just fuck everything up.
Yeah.
And
they and at first too, Jason, he puts up a good fight.
Well, at this point,
Zord.
Jason and Zach aren't even there yet, because they teleport in with the Zord.
Oh yeah.
So this is where Rita gets her staff.
Mm-hmm.
So now she's like all powerful basically, and then the Zord just kind of teleports in, and it starts fucking with the hovercraft.
Mm-hmm. And this whole time, while they're getting the Zord, Zordon's trying to get like the power back on, basically using like
they're trying to send a distress signal.
Yeah, he's trying to send like a distress signal to the Ranger. He keeps saying, "I need to send the signal to Eltar
to get the other Rangers here."
And then once Rita shows up and they start telling each other their plans.
Yeah,
Rita,
which this didn't make sense to me. If I think it's what you're about to say, so just go ahead.
Yeah, Rita lets it known that the Eltarian. I don't even know
the Eltarian Empire,
yeah,
or whatever.
the Empire, that it's dead, that the last Rangers died.
The Lord Zed had basically already conquered the universe.
Yeah.
How the fuck does she know that?
Yeah.
Because as far as we know, she's been locked away and shit.
Yeah.
And how does she know? Where did she get this information?
Yeah, she's like, they all died 15,000 years ago. But she just, hypothetically, she just woke up a day or two ago.
15 hours ago?
Yeah, 15 hours ago.
How does she know?
Yeah, I mean, yes, to play the devil's advocate, Goldar and company could have been like, hey, here's what's happened since you've been gone, and let her know what happened.
The whole idea of where do the bad guys even come from in this script is not really addressed. Because what is this thing that came from space?
Yeah, because
who came off of that? How is it blocking electronics? Where did Rita come from? Where did this putty come from that brought back Goldar? It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is kind of just left for you to, it's left for the reader to, put it together, which is, it's fine, but I just hope they do a better job of explaining it in the cinematic version, because a lot of it is just.
Which in the original series, Rita was like trapped in a dumpster on the moon.
After 15,000, this is the whole opening scene. Yeah. There's astronauts. They find her little.
They call it Day of the Dumpsters, the name of the episode. So.
Yeah, they find her there, and that's how she gets out. But here, it's kind of just...
Which is fine. Her being... Because and the whole concept of the script is she's been trapped on Earth, and she wants to get off. So where does she get this information?
See, when they started mentioning the scepter, I imagined it being kind of like a Lord Voldemort thing, where once you get this thing, boom, here's the big bad evil that shows up. But that wasn't even the case.
No, Rita's already around, and she just needs it to be more powerful.
Yeah, which
they never really explain why her having the scepter is such a bad thing.
Yeah, because even in the...
clearly it makes her stronger, but we don't know how. We don't know why.
I mean, in the commercials for the new movie...
She already has her scepter.
The scepter, if you look in the middle, it essentially looks like... You can kind of tell that's where the power coin is.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. And even in the original series, it was a staff where she got all her powers
That's
from.
where she made her monster grow.
Yeah.
Which she does, and that's what she does in this, too.
Yeah. But, they made it clear that without her scepter, in the TV show, she's worthless. She can't do much. So that was fine.
Yeah.
But in this one, she's already superpower. She's already a final boss in a video game fight.
Yeah.
And whether or not she has a scepter doesn't really change much, because once she gets the actual scepter,
nothing really changes.
Yeah, nothing really changes aside from she's telling everyone.
Because the point is, they're already fucking up all the Rangers. They don't even need it. And that's kind of, they do address that a little bit in the dialogue, where it's like, man, we've already defeated them. Because they show up at the command center and they just beat up all the fucking Rangers. And Kimberly's the only one kind of holding their own, but eventually Alpha 5 just or is it Billy? One of them teleports them all out.
Billy teleports them out because
he's cloaked in the command center, and he's trying to help get the power back on so they can send this distress signal.
Yeah. On top of he knows, I guess he interfaces with the alien technology, so he understands the command center. He knows what he's supposed to do.
Because his suit is technically inclined.
Yeah, so he definitely play off his smarts. He's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing.
And at this point, Jason has shown up with the Zord, and he's kind of drained from it, so he gets defeated pretty easily. And they're at the end of their rope, so Billy's just get him the fuck out of here.
Yeah, because as soon as they show up with the Zord, Rita does the whole, make my monster grow
Yeah.
without actually saying it. I couldn't read that part in the script without, thinking in my mind like, in the cartoon it would always be Finster, who was this little troll goblin thing who would always just
makes the monsters out of clay.
And then, he would always come up to her and be like, oh, they're losing. And then she'd just make them grow.
Yeah.
Here they don't do that. She kind of just uses
She
just kind of uses the scepter to make them big, but yeah.
Which is Goldar she ends up making big anyway.
Yeah, Goldar she makes, which happens all the time in the cartoons.
Yeah.
Every other episode where they don't have a villain.
It's just Goldar.
Yeah, like, all right, Goldar.
Which Goldar is a great fucking villain in the show. Yeah. And he's one of the more interesting dominators. The other ones are just kind of there to be there and to get defeated. So at this point, they're all teleported out. And all Kim seems to care about is making out with Billy for some reason, because it's kind of like, hey, all hope's lost. You want to make out?
Yeah,
which is really fucking weird.
Yeah, at one point he's straight up like, you want to make out with me? The world's ending.
Yeah.
Like the Pentagon is aware that like shit is going awry. The military is showing up to Angel Grove. And this girl over here just got a fucking wet pussy, just trying to like fuck Billy in the middle of all this, which was again like Max Landis, like what? No, in a situation like that, the last thing you're worried about is getting your jollies off.
Yeah.
That was one of those things where I was just like, okay, this is clearly Max Landis being Max Landis.
Yeah.
And
I would say that's my biggest problem with the script is when Max Landis is being Max Landis.
There's a lot of moments in the script where it's like, okay, yeah, this would happen. Yeah, that they would say that.
Yeah, like I would say for the most part, I enjoyed reading the script.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it.
But would I have enjoyed his version of Power Rangers? Probably not.
Probably not. No, yeah. And yeah, because it's just things like that he unnecessary. Again, like the world they're literally all dying.
Yeah.
The world is ending.
And that's one thing I'll say about the script is like once shit kind of starts going off in the beginning, it doesn't really slow down. It's like shit's going bad. They get their coins. There's fighting. They're all separated. They're getting their ass kicked. There's more fighting. Like it just goes.
See, the best way I would describe it in, kind of bring you full circle talking about the Dark Knight Rises again. It's as if during the final climatic fight, during the final fight when Batman has to, rush this atomic bomb out of the city, he stops and he's like, "Hey, Selena Kyle, how about a handy?" No, that wouldn't happen. There's all this going on, and even if there's two people that are romantically interested in each other, the last thing they want, last thing you want is to start fooling around with that person.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things where they do in every movie where, and it even happens here where, Jason's about to go fight and he kisses Trini and there's the whole "I love you." You see it in every action movie ever where.
And this is kind of our regrouping moment where it's like, oh man, the world's about to fucking end, but like, hey, if it's going to end, we're going to go down swinging.
Yeah. Which I think, when is it? It's shortly after this that all hope is lost, and then that's when Jason decides, nope,
we're gonna do this.
Yeah, we're gonna do this.
And we're gonna do it together.
Yeah, that's when the whole family comes together, because at this point, despite all them having the Ranger coins,
they've never even been in the same place together.
Yeah, they've never been all gathered together, and they have the conversation. Like, what do we got to do? And it's the Zords. We have to recall the Zords. Yeah, because at this point, they all just get teleported out of the command center. I think Billy is
is still inside.
Yeah, Billy is still inside. He's he's hiding. He's trying to get the power like up and running.
And that's when he hears Rita say that it's too late, that all the other Rangers are dead, and they're basically
the one cool part too with Zordon was where he was like fucking with her, where he was
Zordon's kind of a dick in the script. Like he doesn't look like, if you watch the original series, like he's like, Alpha 5, find me 5 teenagers with attitude or whatever. Yeah. And this he's like, well, you fucking losers are the only ones here and I need somebody to help me.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're humans, you're not gonna do much good, but here you go. Yeah. And he's really reluctant to give all of them their coins.
Yeah, but it was kind of funny seeing, Rita's like giving them shit like, yeah, you failed. Even those kids got away.
Yeah.
And he's like, what do you mean they got away? You didn't even kill them?
Yeah. Like, and he starts like making fun of her.
Yeah, and she's like, well, when Zed gets here, and he's like, Zed still hasn't like made you a queen? Like, what?
Yeah, he's like, maybe it's not what you think it is, you idiot. Like, he's basically just trying to fuck with her.
Yeah, just trying to stall for time because, they're, at that point, there's not much going on.
Yeah, and then this is when the Rangers kind of jump back into action.
And
they're kind of fighting the Dominators, which lets Jason get inside the Tyrannosaurus Zord and recall the other ones. And honestly, I got pretty hyped reading this moment in the script.
It says like verbatim, you hear the music.
Yeah, he's like, the Zords come and they all get teleported into their Zords, and then they form the Megazord and the fucking music starts. And honestly, I was like, yeah, let's go. Like, this is when I was like enjoying reading the script.
Which is one of those things where I understand they won't use the original music.
I think there's going to be a form of it. I've been looking at the soundtrack because I kind of want to check it out and see, because they have that cool version of it in the trailer with like the fucking guitar. And it's like down, 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 down. There's like 2 different songs on the thing labeled Power Rangers theme, and one's for like the end credits, one's for in the movie. And I have a feeling it's not going to be the identical song, but I think it's going to be like a remix version of it, and I'm hoping it's pretty cool.
See, which I'm not really for those remix versions. Like
you can't use the original fucking 90s guitar song.
Totally could. Like 100.
I'd be for it, but I just don't think it would work for the tone.
Name me one other iconic Power Ranger song.
I'm trying to remember.
There is no other.
No, one of the other theme songs is pretty fucking good. I can't remember if it's Lightspeed Rescue or fucking, what's that other one? I can't remember.
Well, yes.
I didn't watch those series, so they're not memorable to me.
Yeah.
And I was listening to the theme song earlier today, so I know it's great.
I grew up with them. I watched them religiously up until like.
I watched Mighty Morphin and Zeo, and then I was out.
I probably got up until like the 7th iteration, and then I was like, yeah. Hey, there's girls, and I want to go outside and play, but
it was like once my favorite characters started leaving, then I was out.
Yeah, but that was the one. So yeah, I would love for the original music to be in there, because look at what happened with Ghostbusters when they had like Fall Out Boy or someone.
Yeah, they had like 3 different versions of the song done by 3 different people, and none of them were good. And none of them were the cool ass version that was in the trailer, because that Ghostbusters song they used in the trailer was really fucking cool. Yeah. And that version was not even on the soundtrack.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I get that they won't use it.
I mean, there's going to be an alternate version.
Yeah, there'll be an alternate version, but they can totally use it. To me, it's like remaking Pokemon and not using that iconic, I want to be the very...
You have to have that, even just the instrumental of some kind.
Yeah, but... Yeah, they get the Zords together, and I think it's Zax who shows up last.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, what about my Zord? And then his flies, and his is the coolest because it flies.
Yeah.
And so I thought they formed the Megazord immediately, but they don't. They kind of fight the Dominators individually. They fuck up their hovercraft. Zach goes out and blows up the thing in the ocean that is blocking the communications, and now it's fucking Megazord time, which honestly, this was the most exciting part of the script to me. I love the ending. I love the battle. So Goldar is the one we said earlier. He gets make my monster grow. Mm-hmm. Goldar is now fucking as tall as a city, and he goes in and starts fucking up the city, and that's when the fucking Megazord comes in and we get our Godzilla battle.
Yeah, I mean, it's as cool as he tried to describe it there. I could not get past 2 men in suits fighting, like in the original series. Well,
there's nothing better than that.
Yeah, where as corny as that was.
Like watching the reviews for the later Power Ranger seasons when they started doing it in CG, it's just not the same.
Not the same, It's like, hey, I know there's some people who enjoy those earlier kaiju movies, all the Godzilla ones, because it was literally guy in a Mothra costume.
They did a new one last year.
Yeah, and hey, if that's your taste, go for it. Everyone, there's certain, even with us, for wrestling, there's some people who prefer this style over this style, and it's all subjective. One isn't better than the other. Yeah. But in my mind, reading the Goldar and Megazord fight, all I could picture in my mind was 2 guys in suits fighting in a little model town. Because that's how it was in the original.
That'd be so awesome. That's what they did.
Just very clunky fighting.
It's okay. We ran out of budget, so we just got the old costumes in.
Yeah, I mean, it was none of those were ever good. None of them were. They were always bad. None of them were ever good. I mean, maybe a little
Oh,
better
there was a
against
couple decent ones.
Yeah, like I remember in the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie.
Oh God,
so much CG.
It's like bad CG too.
It's like
I mean that movie was like 1995.
It was 95. So
I mean it's pretty weak, but there was some decent CG in 1995.
It's like they didn't have Matrix CGI
No.
yet, but they definitely didn't have like bad early 90s CGI.
It is real rough.
Yeah.
I think there was a story behind that. Like they hired a special effects company that was in trouble and yada yada. But it's real. That movie kind of holds up in some aspects, but once the ending starts going on, just shut it off.
Yeah. See, the thing with that movie too is that the way they approach the costumes, it was very much 90s superhero.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we can't, it was very much, you can't have them in fucking spandex.
No, it was like armor.
Yeah.
And it looked cool. I really liked it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, I guess, what I was picturing as I was reading this script, but I guess it's probably going to be something closer to what this movie is that's coming out.
Yeah, which is fine, because even in that Power Rangers movie, the original one, each of the costumes, which was kind of reminiscent of this, each costume had like, oh, I'm going to use the special.
Oh, they had like, one of them had lights and a scanner and shit in the mask.
Oh, let me use my night vision.
These abilities they've never used before.
Never used before and never going to use again.
Yeah.
It was definitely one of those things. But again, it's, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But, eventually, the Zords, they wind up saving the, eventually it gets that.
I want to point out my biggest flaw with the Megazord battle, which it's a cool battle. It's them and Goldar and they're kind of sword fighting. So we're led to believe that one Ranger powering one Zord takes a lot of energy out of them. Like Jason was barely able to do it. And then Scorpina is on the Megazord and Zach's like, I'm going to go out there and fight her. So we're led to believe that they're just hopping around on the Megazord as it's fighting.
Yeah.
Which is like, I guess, a cool idea in thought, in theory, but in practice seems really stupid. And she ends up getting taken out because they're fighting on the tip of the sword. And her like stinger gets caught in the sword as they stab it into Goldar, and Zach just kind of jumps off. So she ends up getting killed because of that.
Yeah, and there was also the moment where Jason, being the leader, the Red Ranger's always the leader.
Yeah,
he's like too physically exhausted. He's all drained, and he tells Trini like, "Here,
she has to take the controls."
You have to take controls. Do it, and she's all.
Yeah, the thing is, Rangers keep dropping out of this fucking Zord to go do other things.
Yeah,
and it's like, how is one person supposed to fucking pilot this thing?
But also, they said, like, they had mentioned something where the Zord can only function with all the Rangers in there.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden they're ducking out.
I think Billy fucking leaves.
Yeah, it literally becomes... I don't remember what the other two are even doing, but it literally comes down to Jason and Trini, and then Jason almost collapses because he's exhausted, and Trini has to pilot it herself, which is everyone kind of gets their hero moment, and that's hers. Yeah. And it's a good moment, but it just doesn't make sense because Jason almost collapsed just piloting the Tyrannosaurus Zord earlier. Yeah, and now he's doing the whole Megazord by himself.
Yeah, because even now I remember Billy and Kimberly, they leave to go to the command center to basically save Zordon.
Yeah.
Because, Rita, she's just fucking him up. They're in there and...
Yeah, she's just kind of zapping him, basically.
Yeah, and, zapping him, just talking her shit, trying to get in, the last few licks that she can. And that's, that's when she...
And they come in to hold her off.
That's when she tells Kimberly, like, hey...
I used to be the Black Ranger.
Yeah, I used to be the Black Ranger. Like, I can give you all this. And then
that's when she's like, I'm the only queen of this planet or whatever.
Which again, like, fuck off.
Yeah. Like, some real rough dialogue.
Yeah, where it's like, you didn't even live in Angel Grove until 2 days ago.
Seriously.
Like, at one point, she's like on a cliff getting drunk in her car.
Yeah, with Bulk and Skull.
And I'm like, what are you... What?
Like, what?
Yeah, like, that's... I don't know.
Yeah, that's before because that's the moment before she kind of goes into the city when everything's getting fucked up.
Yeah,
that was they just depict her as such a weird character.
Yeah, but then and I felt the ending to everything was kind of like anticlimactic.
Yeah, so I mean they defeat Goldar and then for no reason at all rip the roof off the command center. Which hey, thanks asshole. That's only our base.
Yeah, and then they like put the Zord to Rita.
Yeah.
And she's like,
she gets teleported out by Squat and Babu, I believe.
Yeah, by Babu. At some point during the fight, they fuck off.
And they're on the moon. And now we got Rita's moon base. Yeah. And she's just kind of like, no, on the moon.
Yeah, she does her best. Darth Vader, no.
Yeah.
But that's kind of just the end of that, and then
we get our Rangers camping out somewhere.
But see, the one thing I did like before that was the Rangers are all we won, and Zordon is like,
you kind of won.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, well,
he's a real dick in the
yeah,
script.
he's like,
I gotta say,
yeah, he's
it's like tough love.
Yeah, he's like, well, no, they'll be back.
Yeah,
but for now,
he's like, you did better than I thought you would, so pat on the back there.
Yeah, which is all right.
Hey,
yeah,
they got some progress.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, then right after that, it's one of those things where Trini's and they're
at like a barbecue.
They're like
on
at a
some
barbecue,
lake or whatever.
and Trini, she like transport from Harvard. That's one thing. Yeah, she's like at Harvard.
This is where Zach jokes about switching coins with Billy.
Yeah.
And Zach has also told his girlfriend that he's a Power Ranger.
Yeah, that part's where I'm like, dude, you're 17.
Yeah. Like, this is a girl, you're not going to be with this girl forever, probably.
Yeah, because...
most 17-year-olds don't stay together.
Yeah. Like, even in, like, her name is like Angela or something.
Yeah. And I think she was a character in the original show. Well, but again, it's like it's a thing they try to put in the show that ends up really going nowhere.
Yeah, because that's what I was trying to think of, like, is she? But no, there's, the only name drop of significance is Tommy Oliver, and that's because in this, he becomes a Green Ranger and then eventually becomes,
which is still a fucking great 5-episode story arc of that show.
Yeah, it's great. So we get the happy ending.
Yeah,
and then
it's like, oops, we got a call. We all got to teleport out of here.
Yeah, they're like, Rita's in like Japan or something.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we better go.
And they teleport and leave Zach's girlfriend there.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, guys, like hands on her shoulder. Yeah. And that's kind of your heroic ending. And I don't know.
Cue Power Ranger music. But
kid friendly, I guess.
Yeah. What was interesting was the post-credit scene.
Yeah. Which we would assume would be a post-credit scene. It's kind of just tagged on at the end there.
Which, that's when we're introduced to Finster, who, again... little goblin who just makes the Zords. They're like on a spaceship like somewhere in the fucking galaxy, and he's like, hey, Zed, we got a problem.
Fucking Lord Zed.
Yeah. And he's like, what is it? He's like, we got Power Rangers. And he's like, what? And he's like, Power Rangers,
and Rita, she's failed.
Yeah, to which, I mean, when they describe him as
exactly how he is in the show, because Zed is already so fucking awesome. You don't need to change it. I'm assuming that there's at least going to be mention of Zed in this movie. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping we see him. I don't think we will. Maybe we'll see something.
It'll probably be like at the end of Avengers where you see Thanos.
Yeah.
Like just kind of.
That's all I need. Just give me that much of Zed.
That exact same scene, because this sounds almost like that scene where the one, where at the end of Avengers, the alien comes up to him and he's like,
and he just like turns his head.
He's
and
like,
you
we
see his
failed,
face.
And he turns around. They can totally do that.
But it sounds a little closer to the end of Age of Ultron, where he grabs the gauntlet and he's like, I guess I'll do this myself, because Zed holds up the power coin for the Green Ranger.
Or like the end of Civil War. It's nothing like Civil War. I just wanted to bring it up. It's a great fucking movie.
It's so good.
It's so good.
We get our tease for a sequel and a Green Ranger.
Zed is basically like, I got to do this myself.
Yeah.
And they say, you see him with the green coin, which, if all indication is, the second movie they'll introduce Tommy Oliver as the Green Ranger. Yeah, which that's a movie in it of itself, because by then you could have the team established. And
you got to imagine that's what the second movie would have been. Would be the whole arc of the Green Ranger, of him. By the end of the movie, he'd become good, and then they would fight Zed together.
Yeah, which you could totally do, or you can even save Zed for the third movie.
Yeah,
you can just have them fight the Green Ranger. It's totally it actually comes back to Captain America: Civil War.
Where always trying to cram it in.
They're they got to fight Bucky at first, and then they realize no, Bucky isn't the enemy. And that's essentially what happens to Tommy at first. Yes, he is the enemy, but that's because he's being brainwashed.
Yeah.
Much like the Winter Soldier, in Captain America: Civil War. But, if anything, it definitely left it open for, hey, if we do a sequel, which they'll do.
Any movie like this is
Yes.
being billed as a franchise. I'm sure this movie, which we are, I guess there was a news thing that there is a post-credit scene or like a
Yes.
mid-credit scene for this new movie. But I also heard that that's where the cameos for the original Rangers might be. So I don't know if that's for a sequel or, oh, here's just a fun cameo scene just to give them their due diligence, you know? But they're already talking about doing 6 or 7 of them. So there has to be some sort of sequel hint in there somewhere.
Even if this one isn't that good, they'll do a second one. If the second one is really that bad, then they just won't do another one, you know?
Yeah, I have a hard time. I mean, I'm really interested to see how much of this script made it into that movie because Max Landis is not listed as a writer on this movie.
Yeah, he's straight up said like, no, he's like it just happens, This
happens all the time.
Yeah, we like this script, but we're gonna change this and that.
Yeah, they pay for a script and then they take it, then they hire a new writer, they give them that script, and they're like, write us a new version based off this. And it seems like some elements have made it. Rita was a former Ranger. Jason's a fuck up. A couple other minor things, like maybe some of that stuff transferred over. I don't see any major plot points coming over, and honestly, I kind of hope they don't, because everything I've seen from that movie so far, it looks a lot better than what we read.
Yeah, which again, not to say this is a bad script. I would definitely.
No, I definitely
it
enjoyed it, and I would recommend.
It was a fun and a quick read.
It really moves.
Yeah, I got like 3/4 of the way through it before I realized like
oh shit, I'm like really far.
Yeah, I was like, I have 20 pages left.
Like, because I've definitely read some scripts for this podcast that I've enjoyed so far. I've enjoyed every script that I've done, and I might sound like I'm shit talking the script, but I had fun reading it. I'm reading it. I got so hyped for this new movie. I started looking for the soundtrack to buy it, and it doesn't even come out until the day the movie comes out. And I'm like, I kind of want to go back. It's like reinvigorated my love for Power Rangers.
Yeah, which I, from time to time, like I want to rewatch them. But
yeah, they're all on Netflix. Every series.
Yeah, honestly, to me, the only tolerable series is what is it, Galaxy or Lost in Space? One of the ones.
In Space, Lost Galaxy was afterwards. Is not as good.
So In Space, but just because like it's pretty fucking dark. Like,
you should really watch those reviews I sent you because. It made me want to go back. There's 3 different series I want to go back and watch, and In Space is one of them, and then a couple of the later ones.
So I mean, they do. It's just a little bit. The thing too is, I love when universes interconnect. If ever I'm watching a superhero movie and they casually, or it not even has to be a superhero movie. If I'm watching a movie and they reference another movie in that same universe.
Yeah.
Where
even in fucking Batman Forever when they name drop Metropolis.
Yeah, or it's like in Clerks too, and they say at Julie Dwyer's funeral, and I'm just like, oh, that's the funeral.
Yeah.
It's just when they do that, when it's all connected. I love that, and that's what they did with that series, and that's what I'm hoping they do with this movie, because there is so much more room to okay, we did Mighty Morphin, which I
would love to see if they like by the 3rd movie it's like, are they going to do Zeo? Are they going to like brandish out that far?
Yeah, which you totally and the one thing too that they can do is
kill a Ranger.
Well, you see, like I don't. By the time this comes out, I will have already seen this movie because I'm crazy and I go watch these.
Yeah, I usually go like the Thursday night.
Yeah, like I went to go see Rogue One at like 1 because I didn't get out of work in time at 12, and it was midnight, a 1 a.m. and a 4 a.m. show. And Frank, shout out to Frank,
our boss.
Our boss. Yeah, he was like, "You are fucking insane if you think you're going to go to a 4 a.m. show and make it back to work at 9 o'clock." And I was like,
"Watch me."
I was like, "Yeah, I'll fucking do it." And then he let me out of here early so I could not do that. You know? Because
yeah, I'm definitely gonna go see the new one in theaters.
So the one thing I did read that a lot of people are saying that's supposed to happen is cameos and a Ranger dies. Which
I would love to see them go there.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing these superhero movies are not really doing. I mean, that's one thing DC did over Marvel. They fucking killed Superman. I mean, they didn't 100% kill him, but they went there.
Yeah, they took it, which if they kill a Ranger in the first movie, hey, that's great. I feel like maybe second movie, at least not first. Because,
you don't have to. I don't think you should in the first. I think you should in the second.
Yeah, because it's like, I don't care about any of these fucking kids.
Yeah.
At least, like, if... I think this movie will be good.
I'm hoping.
I don't expect to come out of it weeping and sobbing
No.
like I did after Logan, you know, both times. But I definitely expect it to be a good movie. And
I'm definitely going to be going into it now with different eyes to see, what from this script made it into the movie.
And that's the thing, too, where it's like, if they like this cast, then, hey, the Zeo Rangers are this group of people.
Yeah.
And the Turbo Rangers are this group of people.
I hope they don't go to Turbo.
Yeah, Turbo features them getting baked into a pizza.
Yeah, that movie or that show was real rough.
The movie was fine.
I didn't see the movie.
The movie's fine. It's definitely more tolerable than the Mighty Morphin Ranger movie.
Yeah, I would like to watch it.
Like until the ending, where I'm just like, there's like forced cameos in there. I'm like, it's cool to see, Jason and Kimberly, but it was it kind of felt just like Jordeck's a little weak. What can we do?
Yeah.
Well, these guys aren't doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I enjoyed this. I enjoyed talking about it with you.
Yeah, it was definitely it was a fun read, and same thing. I'm definitely more pumped to see the actual movie now.
Yeah. I'm glad it's not going to be this, but it's nice to have that little bit of backstory. Yeah. And it'll be fun to look out for this stuff while we watch the movie.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's one of the things where I don't expect it to fully be this. Like, I'll be pissed off if I go watch the movie and
it's this script.
And it's this script, and I just read it all, and I'm like, well, fuck, there goes.
Yeah, no, I think we'll see 1% of this script in that movie. That's what I'm throwing down right now.
I mean, even if it's half of what happens in here, it's fine.
Half of the script is good.
Yeah, just don't have Kimberly confess how wet she is for Billy as they're about to die.
Yeah,
because come on, But I mean, from the movie itself, you can see that they keep, Kimberly and Jason are the ones who are attracted to each other.
The trailers have all been impressive so far.
Yeah, listen, you put "Power" by Kanye West under any trailer, and I'm in.
Such a good trailer.
Yeah, it could be some medieval, politics movie. You put fucking "Power" by Kanye West underneath it, and I'll be like, you know what?
Pretty fucking great.
Yeah, I'm like, same thing with "Gimme Shelter" by the Rolling Stones. You attach it to any trailer, and I'm like, this movie is gonna be the best.
Yeah, I was so surprised when that other trailer came out.
Yeah, but so go read the script. You can find it online.
It's pretty easy to find. I found it without even trying.
Yeah, I typed in Max Landis, and probably a third, fourth thing was Power Ranger script.
Yeah.
He himself has linked it. So again, not hard to find.
No. If you're a Power Rangers fan at all, if you're interested in this new movie at all, highly recommend you read it.
Yeah. And by the time this comes out, I will have already seen it. And I
hope to see it and have a review pretty shortly.
I'm sure Jeremy on his mini pod for the the episode after will either tell you how great this movie was
or how disappointing
it was, either based on him seeing it or my review.
Yeah.
But regardless, go watch it.
Yeah. Let's all go see it together.
Yeah, let's all go see it together. Yeah, our boss usually takes us to go watch movies.
I'm trying to convince him for this one because he's like, I don't really want to see it in theaters, but I'm thinking that might be the way to get us all to go see it.
Yeah, and listen, one way or another, we're all going to go see this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man.
All right.
Well, thanks for sitting with me. Is there anything you want to plug your Twitter or anything like that?
Yeah, you can go. It's Scrump_1, SCRUMP_1. It's a lot of just me talking about Yokelis, my nephew, and
it's worth following. Just for that.
And wrestling. You can follow me on Instagram at CM_Scrump. Aside from that, leave Jeremy a positive review. Give him 5 stars.
Leave any review. We read them on the show.
Yeah, leave any review, even if it's
I'll read shitty reviews. I have already done it once.
He's read bad reviews, I've
already done it, and I am not afraid because hey, I need the constructive criticism.
Yeah, so go download it. Aside from that, not much.
All right. Yeah, and like he said, be sure to review the show, and of course, you can always follow us on Twitter at Shelved Podcast and email the show at shelvedfilmpodcast@gmail.com. Let me know how good I'm doing. Talk some shit to me. Let's fucking talk about a movie we talked about. I'll read anything. I don't even care. It's fun.
Guys.
I love interacting with everybody who's been listening on Twitter. And send me an email. It'll 100% get read on the show.
I'm going to totally make a fake email like how I'd email you now.
You can just use your real email account. I'll still read it.
Yeah, but it's more fun if you're like, some weird girl from Switzerland keeps asking me
but your name was in the subject line. It was really confusing.
They keep talking about never mention Kimberly getting wet for Billy on a podcast again.
Yeah, and it's just they just keep talking about Rick and Morty. It's real weird.
Yeah, Rick and Morty season 3 too. Look out for
can't
that.
wait.
I have nothing to do with it. Just look out for
Yeah,
that.
everybody should be looking out for that.
Yeah.
All right, man.
All right, Jeremy.
Thanks for sitting with me.
No problem.
And let's go see Power Rangers.
Dun dun dun. That's not even how it goes, is it?
I don't think so.